were engaged in mobilizing to be part of the March on Washington. And 50 years later, those issues are still real. The issues are still prevalent, and we still need churches to rally and clergy to be leaders and step up and challenge their people to come and be part of this continuation.
And we have bigger, more resourceful churches and less involvement.
Yes.
And I think that is a critical picture that we need to change. So we certainly ask you to do that and be in touch with us at NashActionNetwork.net, and Reverend Walron and our staff get back to you, or the number toll free 1-877-532-626-4561. Let me thank my executive producer Fatim Muhammad, technical producer Lee Majors. Remember tonight and every night, Monday through Friday, I'm live on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on MSNBC, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. And remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of either WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
Get ready. Armstrong Williams is up next on WGCV 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Packers,
Vikings,
Red State,
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown,
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
half empty,
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability.
Good God! I got to ask you what we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. Hit me.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get to Henry's at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Armstrong Williams Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me see. Milo, are you on the line yet?
How are you today, Armstrong?
Fine. It's always good to hear your voice. Logan Delaney, have you arrived?
Yes, I have.
Oh, perfect. Listen. So,
hey, Logan.
Hey, Milo. How are you?
Good, good.
I know you guys. I just love the chemistry between you guys when you're on together. And I said, oh, if only I could recreate that again. And I said, oops, it works. It worked out. But anyhow, I need you guys to respond to something that happened today. We have two very special guests, CW and AG, who attended a press conference with Speaker Boehner today. They were invited to attend this press conference with Speaker Boehner to talk about the student loan issue, and they have their perspective on it. I want them to brief you on what the press conference was about, and we'd like to get the perspectives from both. We'll start with you, AG. Talk about today's press conference and your take on this issue with student loans. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, good afternoon. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
They don't normally speak, by the way. They just want to get down to the business.
Yeah,
You're too much of a gentleman today. But go ahead.
I suppose.
You notice they barely gave you warmth, right? So listen, they say, yeah, okay. These are men that come from the old school. Tough guys, but go ahead.
Basically, today was talks on how the House, they repeated many times how the House has put forth their measure and that they're waiting for the Senate to basically put forth what they believe should be their means of solving this looming deadline of solving what they should do with the subsidized loan rate. Should they put it on the market, or should they set it as a fixed rate? And the consensus that they've reached is that they wanted to stick to the market. They want to put it at the market rate, which will fluctuate depending on the market. And they're basically waiting. They won't budge. They say they won't budge. They say that this is right, and this is what it should be done. Obama is threatened to veto any measure that they put forth, and they're saying that the Democrats should stop playing political games with the college students and their funding, and they should get down to business and pass something.
Okay, let's go to CW. Go ahead.
Yes. As Alex just said, that's definitely was the main topic today. Pretty much getting past the politics and really solving this issue. July 1st is around the corner. And again, we were invited mainly because we are relevant in the discussion, because I myself have student loans. I've graduated and I am currently paying them. So it was something that actually was very, very relevant to me, and I wanted to make sure that my presence was there for all those who are thinking about going to college, and even family members that I have, younger cousins who will be possibly taking out loans. Again, the main sentiment was that a strong suggestion had been proposed, and the president or his constituents have pretty much decided that they will be vetoed. And for me, as a person paying, as a citizen who is affected by the decisions of clearly the government, I really did appreciate the fact that, as politicians, they took this step back to say, okay, enough with the politics. Let's actually solve the issue. So the percentage rate it's seeming it's going to double, and that's obvious. If my payment now is $500 a month, it may be $1,000 a month. So that is a huge jump, and it's something that can change the whole complexion of the potential college people that are able to go to college. So it's big. It's a bigger problem than even the government can even solve almost. So it's something that we all should be thinking of and all should be involved in, and that's why I physically had my presence felt, and I had to be there.
So what do you think is the issue? Do you mentioned earlier, AG, that you felt that the Republicans wanted to invest in the stock market, but you, for some reason, did not think this was a wise choice.
I don't think it's a wise choice because, as the stock market is unpredictable, so, it could work out to the benefit. I truthfully don't believe it will, but it's a possibility that the rates could lower and that it would become more affordable for lower income families to be able to afford to take out these loans because they won't have piles and piles of interest building on them. But at the same time, I read a figure that said that the interest rates could go up as high as 7.7%, which is extremely outrageous and would definitely put a lot of lower income and probably even middle class people out of college because they wouldn't be able to afford paying double their loan.
And, I hear this discussion, and I've been taking some notes, and there's a couple of points that are being made here that are just, frankly invalid. First, the interest rate could double, and it would not double the payment. So that is an invalid statement. Second, the commentary relative to interest rates going up to 7%, thus denying lower-income families access to student loans, is equally invalid, since student loans are not serviced until post-graduation. The playing field for student loans remains constant regardless of the economic standing of the individual taking out the loan. And theoretically, a lower income person, academically qualified to enter into secondary education, taking out student loans, by default of so doing, would be better positioned to service those loans post-graduation.
So how do you respond to him, AG? Because he's challenging your assertions, which I think are flawed also, but go ahead. That's just my opinion.
So you're saying that even that the interest rates wouldn't even affect the lower.
No, what I said is that the representation that an interest rate doubling would translate into a double in the payment, the premium payment, is invalid. You can double the interest rate, and it's not going to double the payment.
It's not going to.
Because remember, the interest rate is
interest payment.
But
It's
yeah,
double the interest payment, but not
gonna double.
double.
Yes, something is going to double.
the representation
I have
that's going to
to
go
pay
from
will
500
double.
to 1,000 is not valid.
Oh yes, the principle doesn't change, but the interest, which I apologize, we're talking about, will double, and that is something that also has to be paid at the end of the day.
Which will make it even harder for, as I said, lower income families to pay back in a timely manner because they're low income. More money for them to pay would usually equal out a much longer time for them to pay off their loans.
Can I just interrupt here?
Not only do I want you to interrupt, I want you to school these young men in the propaganda.
I find it ironic that the government gives loans to low-income families, students, for the purpose of making them middle class or upper middle class, but certainly not for them to be lower class or working class. When you finish college, the presumption is, hey, you made this great investment.
Thank you.
So that you could have a substantial increase in your income. Are you still lower class? If you're still lower class,
you should have gone to college.
Your money.
Yeah.
Okay, you either flunked out of school and didn't work hard enough. You took the wrong courses, so you can't get a high-paying job. Why would you take a student loan, knowing that it's gonna encumber you?
I definitely agree, which is why it's hard, because we live in a capitalist society, so you're taught to follow your dreams and do what you love, and luckily I love business. Yeah, exactly, right. What does that even really mean?
I'm sorry.
So
you know something? If you let's look at the Logan touched on it. I touched on it earlier. Let's look at some of the real facts. If we are talking about a lower socioeconomic individual who is academically qualified to attend a post-secondary school and secures a student loan to fund that education, the underlying presumption is that post-graduation they are now going to qualify for a position which will elevate their socioeconomic stance minimally to middle class.
Right.
So by default of that investment, they have now been given an opportunity funded by somebody else, and they should be pleased to pay whatever it costs them to accomplish that. Because their life has been changed through the opportunity. That's the cost of education. That's life. Get over it.
Definitely makes sense, and it's definitely a sentiment that I can understand, especially being someone that literally just graduated. Again, I was given an opportunity. My parents, so it's funny, I actually had a scholarship going into my freshman year. I had to keep a 3.3. After my first semester, I dropped to a 3.1, lost my scholarship, my fault. So it does come back to a responsibility and the onus of understanding that you paying for your education, if you had the money, you'd be paying it. And if you didn't, then you wouldn't be going to the school. So for this to even be an option is a blessing, and I definitely understand that part.
One thing I think is interesting, and you just pointed something out. Part of a scholarship is that you have to work and maintain your average.
Yes.
In the real world, after you get out of school, guess what happens if somebody's hiring you, he's paying you $100,000 a year to do a certain job, and you fail? You don't do the job. You get fired.
ASAP.
Okay? You don't have that job. Your boss doesn't say, oh, well, I'm just going to cut back a little on your salary. You are gone.
It's real world.
You understand?
I just find the dichotomy between AG and CW very interesting. I think this is why I wanted to have this discussion today with two icons, Logan and Milo. Because you guys need to be schooled. Seriously. Because you guys are...
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Crust's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Crust near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrustBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make $100 million or $10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And Milo Pinckney, Logan Delaney, CWAG. Logan, you were making a point when we were going out to break.
Yeah, you know, I happen to be a trustee of a scholarship fund. We give out scholarships to young people. And what we do is that we give out a certain scholarship in the fall semester. And then if the person who gets a scholarship achieves at least a B average, we give them an additional stipend. Okay? I got a call from one of the fathers. It actually wasn't a call. It was an email from one of the fathers complaining to me that his son didn't get the B and therefore wasn't getting his spring semester stipend. He says it's causing him financial hardship. And I said, what the hell are you talking to me for? Talk to your son. He was the one that should be getting the B. He's the one who's got to work, not me. And we even said, if your son achieves a B in the second semester, we'll give you the extra money.
I wish I knew about that
this
scholarship.
Father was saying that's not fair. Well, you know what? It is fair, because when you're in school, you're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be working hard, and if you're using somebody else's money to go to school, you should be working extra hard to make sure that you earn your scholarship.
I want to give another perspective to this before Milo interject here. You know, I asked CW, how is it that you allowed your GPA to drop to 3.1 and lose your scholarship? he told a story that fascinated me even more, which is something I never had to address and deal with in college. Explain to these two distinguished gentlemen why your grade point average dropped.
So it was, again, my freshman year, and it was my English class, and I'm pretty good at writing. I like to think so, at least. But it hasn't been a weak point in my curriculum at all. But my freshman year, I had an assignment, and pretty much it was an opinionated essay. And it was a major essay. Long story short, I received a C- because I did not write something that my teacher agreed with. Although I cited my sources and I had a well-constructed argument, it was simply because I did not agree. Well, my teacher didn't agree, and we had an argument about it. So long story short, that's one C- bumped my grade down in that class.
And here's the funny
thing.
thing.
You learned a very important lesson.
Wait a minute. Here's the funny thing about it.
Is,
they gave him a C because he did do the research and did the assignment, but he said, I'm not about to give you an A because I don't like your opinion and I disagree with it, so I'm going to give you a C-.
Armstrong, how many times do you have to shut your mouth up and bite your tongue because the guy you work for is an idiot, and you know,
not
you
in
can't
the classroom.
say what you
I'm
want
sorry,
to say.
not in the
Sometimes
classroom.
you have to know, one of the things that you have to learn to do, and you learn to do it in school, is that sometimes you have to write your essays so that, you know, to account for the teacher. Now,
I don't know, Logan, I have to
right thing
disagree
to
with
do.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. You lost me there.
I'll tell you, if I was going to lose my scholarship and I had to say...
But he didn't know he was a freshman. He didn't know he was a kid. He was a freshman. He didn't know.
Hey,
this
that's
was
a
shock.
lesson. That's a lesson learned. It's an expensive lesson. We all learn expensive lesson. Was it right for the teacher to do that? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is sometimes you have to be practical.
Logan, that's not what higher education is about. Higher
You want to make a bet?
Is about a dialogue, and I'm assuming for the purpose of this discussion that the representations are entirely accurate. And given that, I have a problem with that because a teacher's opinion, what the teacher's there to teach is how to think, to give a student the structure from which and through which to think through things, not to arrive at mutually agreeable conclusions. So if a paper was written, I'm looking for the instructor to evaluate the logical progression, the quality of thought process, the diligence and the due diligence in research. I'm looking for the mechanics. The argument itself is actually secondary with regard to whether or not I agree with it, as long as the framework for it is appropriate.
You're preaching to the choir. I agree 110% with you. However, if you go to a university today and you go as a conservative and you try to espouse your conservative ideas, you will definitely end up on the shorter end of the curve.
Unfortunately, that's the reality.
Yes.
That's the reality.
That is the reality.
Okay? So what you need to do is learn to live with that.
Logan,
if I'm in Nazi Germany in 1936
don't go there, Logan.
and I'm
don't go
Jewish...
Logan,
okay.
As the youngster who lived there, I definitely learned a lesson, definitely. And it does speak to the fact that school is a microcosm of the world, and that's something that I did have to understand. It was not this fanciful place where you grow and no, you learn how the world is and you learn how to operate in the world. And that is something that you're right. I learned a very expensive lesson, but at the same time, it rubbed me the wrong way. I actually changed my major. I ended up transferring schools actually, and it's something
I don't blame you.
Yeah, and it's simply because I understood.
I do.
It took me a while to really understand what exactly I wanted to do with my life, and had I known back then what exactly I wanted to do with my life, and that might not have bothered me so much because I had a clear path. But the thing was, I thought that school was going to help me get from point A to point B. And once that happened to me, I realized that I could not rely on school to get me from point A to point B. So it was on Charlton. So the life lesson, it was a huge lesson that resonated with me, but it caused me to make a lot of decisions that ended up costing my parents a good amount of money. And some of that, obviously, I have to pay for myself in loans. Now, again, it's about what am I getting with this loan? And I very much understand where you're going with this, Logan. With that loan, it's about how much you're willing to pay for a chance. You know, everyone's willing to pay a different price for a chance. Now, for myself, I believe in myself, so I'm willing to pay whatever the price is because I will make the most of it on the other end of the stick. But my success after college cannot depend on a job market, which is why, again, I'm an entrepreneur. I realized that after that first semester, I cannot rely on any system to get Charlton where he wants to be. It's going to be on him every day in every situation.
Even though it was on you, Charlton, I still believe you should have taken that past the teacher, to at least the head of the department, head of the board. That's something you could have argued with the head of the board, because that's wrong. That's wrong. You did take out that chance, but to have your chance just dashed away by the fact that just because your professor didn't even agree with your beliefs or your ideas, that's wrong. And that really set you back a lot.
It's wrong, but it was no secret in the school or even with the students. It's like, if you want to get a good grade in this guy's class, write something that he agrees with. You know his points, his stance, then write what he wants to hear. And it's like, I'm not that type of person, therefore, I mean, it wasn't conducive for me, but it was a life lesson. If you want, the things that this person has to offer, and they're giving you the recipe of how to get it, then you see what you have to do, and you have to bite the bullet, as Logan said, and go ahead with that. And whether it's right or wrong, it's about the reality of the situation. It's a funny movie that I actually watched called The Devil Wears Prada, and although that was a very different movie for me, I don't watch movies like that, but the undertone pretty much was, if you have an ultimate goal, you'll go through the fire to get there. And whether it's you agree with what they want you to do or not, it's about what you ultimately want for yourself.
But wait, you knew this from the start, that to get this grade you had to challenge?
Oh, no, I didn't know. I was a freshman. I didn't know. I wrote a paper that I thought was
great.
It's
funny. When I was a kid, my mother said to me something very wise, which I didn't appreciate at the time, but she said, don't argue with the teacher. Do what the teacher wants you to do, okay? Because what you need is that diploma or that degree, okay?
Yes. My mom said the same thing.
You have to know when to fight your battles.
Well, I think that's the more valuable lesson than the training to acquiesce to all challenge. You need to identify the value of the fight, and some fights you have to buy in and participate in, because absent your doing so, you're contributing to the continuation of the bad behavior that precipitated the problem.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Throughout all of this, the student loan issue, it's interesting, because when my son took off to college, he was set up comfortably. He went to a private school. My wife and I bought him a house, bought him a car, and he went to college, and all he had to do was get a couple of roommates and focus on his grades. He didn't have to worry about a job. He was pretty much set. And he went out his freshman year, and he screwed the pooch and floundered. And it wasn't until he had those privileges taken away from him that he got serious, buckled down. And I'm proud to say that he just graduated this past May from Georgia State and is coming in to play a role in the family business. But he had to go through a hard learning curve to grow up.
And I think that
you think your son had a hard learning curve? One of my sons went to school for 4 years, didn't graduate. I said, I don't pay for it anymore, and if you want to pay for it, you have to, do it yourself. He ended up going into the Marine Corps and having to go to Iraq. And it's interesting, when he was going to school on my dime, he was a C student. When he went on his dime, he was an A- student.
Yeah. Yes. If you're not vested in it, and if I could shift gears for a quick second, because Logan, you just tapped onto a very salient point, and it's permeating this country across the board in all walks. Our academic system is training to mediocrity. Our professional system is hiring and training to mediocrity. And then we're surprised that we are failing on the international stage and unable to compete successfully with our international competitors. I had an experience this past week with First Data Corporation. They're a credit card processor. And I was speaking with one of the service people from their customer service arm and trying to resolve a problem. And after 3 days of going back and forth trying to resolve the problem, no resolution from her, no return phone calls. She called me yesterday, 5 days after my last 3 messages to her, to find out whether or not she had gotten back to me yet, because she didn't remember whether or not she had gotten back to me. All right? This is the standard that we are training our people to.
Hold there, Milo, Logan, CWAG, Armstrong, Williams. When I'm listening, that means it's provocative. We'll be back.
For more information on the Armstrong-Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sports shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the broadcast. So Milo, let me raise this point. Why is it that the younger generation don't understand that conservatism, fiscal conservatism, is the only answer for them? Because someday they're going to want to have the opportunity to be wealthy. They want to have not to be able to pay all these high taxes and be overregulated when they start businesses. I mean, obviously, it doesn't reflect the environment they grew up in. Does it reflect what they're being taught in college? It seems like what they're being taught is not the reality of the world.
Well, Armstrong, I think there's an assumption made in your question. One that everyone is looking to achieve wealth. And I think if you...
What? Wait. Are you telling me they're not?
No, I would actually say that there's a significant portion. I look at my son's generation, and many of them will tell you straight up they're more interested in quality of life and being
that is
happy.
Quality of life.
Well, hang on, Armstrong. You and I both know this. But what's happening in our academic environments is that teachers are teaching these kids that ideologies that have no place in reality. So these kids are coming out of school talking about, they want to be happy doing what they want. They just want a job that makes them happy. They're not worried about making money, and that's because, quite frankly, they've lived on the dime of mom and dad up until now, and they don't know what they're missing. If you look throughout history, people become more conservative the more they accumulate, and the more you work and accumulate, the more you have to become conservative, because it's the only way to accumulate. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that with education, with experience, with accumulation comes conservative values. Except for those people who have come by it so easily that it has no meaning.
And to build off of his point, Armstrong, he does have a point. Some people are quite happy being relatively, well off, not necessarily poor, but they work a 9 to 5 in a store and in a maybe 2-bedroom, not spacious, but it's comfortable for them. Success is really to each his own. Some people are happy not being rich.
Maybe rich is the wrong word. Let me just tell you something. The way this society is going and the way the government is becoming bankrupt and running out of money to take care of these social programs and to provide for families and to provide for seniors, you better have your own. And let me tell you something. You got to have excessive amounts. If you talk about helping the poor, if you want to talk about helping your community, if you want to talk about giving your child the best choice in education, if you want to talk about having something in retirement, if you want to talk about having something to help you stand,
you're trying to push back the tide.
You're talking about having something to stand when their hard times hit. You better accumulate some money. What other option is there?
There is no other option.
Pushing back the tide, man.
I really, this is funny because, again, I was one of those people that, I want to be happy and follow my dreams. And then I got into the real world and my feet hit the ground and it was really like, how are you smart enough and hardworking enough to actually make that happen? And it's like, you really have to have enough synergy and put enough thought into your everyday actions, whereas that can actually happen because you will either get caught up, in your dream and look up and be very much in debt or haven't done much and, time has passed you by, or you will be 9 to 5ing hoping that you're staying afloat. But, as a lot of people in our generation, like you said, they are so used to living on their parents' dime that it's not a real reality that they're basing everything or anything off of. And again, when I stepped into adulthood, it was one of those situations whereas I was generating revenue and I was generating money doing something I enjoyed. I was doing event promotion, so it was fun at the time, but it wasn't something that I could see myself doing for a long time. So I had to really game plan and really figure out how am I going to monetize my gifts. So in this capitalist, in the world, you have to be able to generate money to have options. And I'm one of those people that enjoys options. A quality of life is a life of options and being able to make a decision on yes or no. People that are below a certain, income level don't have options. And that's what it's about for me. Just being able to have things and experiences that I wouldn't otherwise have.
People who don't know that they're poor don't know that they're poor.
Yeah.
Logan,
I think it's ironic that America won the Cold War. Capitalism clearly was much more successful than socialism. Yet, as our generation, and I'm in my 60s and grew up, during the height of the Cold War, and it was very clear that we expounded capitalism. You wanted to be rich, you wanted to be successful. That was in the 50s and 60s. There was no doubt that that's how your parents pushed you. Well, today, I find it just ironic that there are a lot of Americans who have no problem giving up their freedom for security. And what I mean by that is that they would rather have somebody else take care of them, take care of their wants and their needs, and do what that person tells them to do, whether it's go work for a big company where you work 9 to 5
Logan.
and you get health care. There are a lot of people like that, and I think that's more. Yeah,
I'm going to school you, my friend.
Go ahead,
Logan.
That's what this.
98% of the population is principally comfortable with being led by 2% of the population. It has always been.
By the way, you're right.
That is true.
It will always be. It's human nature. And thank God for them, because if it weren't for the followers, the few of us leaders out there would have nobody to lead.
That's true.
Well, don't go changing or upsetting the apple cart. I'm quite content.
I'm not trying to upset the apple cart. All I'm saying.
I'm quite content with it. We're not going to change it. You're
No,
pushing
no.
back
All
the
I'm
tide.
saying.
No, I hear
all
what
I'm
you're saying, and I
is
totally
that there
agree
are
with
a
you.
lot of people who are willing to give up their freedom.
And you know something?
To give up responsibility for their lives. Okay, to get security.
And they believe that they have that security. That's the part that is so disturbing to me. Not that they pursue it, not that they want it, but that they believe that they have it.
I mean, it's just an easier life, I feel, to be able to know I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go into this place, I'm going to spend some time here, and then they're going to send me a check, and then I'm good. But there's others of us that are like, I have to generate more than just what they're going to give me. Even beyond that, I have to create opportunities of residual wealth because I'm no longer just depending on a check. I have other people that are depending on me. So if I'm depending on a check and that check stops, not only do I not eat, but my family. So it becomes, like you said, responsibility is the most important thing. And some people do not want the responsibility for themselves to provide for themselves because a lot of us aren't equipped to provide for ourselves in a free market economy, to be honest.
And it also depends on how far a lot of people set their sights, set their goals. Because I've seen people who are just content sitting outside their buildings waiting for the welfare check to come in. And they don't necessarily, they might, sell car parts as a hobby. They don't even look to it as a means to a business. They just do it because, hey, how am I going to fill in the days between the 1st and the 15th or whenever the checks come in?
Most people are trading hours for dollars. They're quite content trading those hours for dollars. And, the reality of it is if you do some simple math, if you are in a life position where you're trading hours for dollars, you have a finite number of dollars you can accumulate.
Yes.
Right.
A significant portion of the people in that situation acquiesce to their circumstance and exist. They are victims of their lives. A small minority wakes up one day, realizes that is a formula for disaster, and they look to work a second job. And then there's a smaller minority that wakes up and says, I have to get some other people working for me. And those become the self-employed people. And super minority, which is the smallest group of the four, are the ones who end up building an enterprise, engaging employees, and owning and investing in businesses. And that formula has been the same since the beginning of time.
Yes.
I think what you guys need to do, since you both want to become serial entrepreneurs, and you could not have two better examples than Delaney and Pinckney, you should engage them, ask them questions. Why don't we take a turn so you can just engage them, because you represent a generation that have a lot of ambition, but short on how to get there.
Well, it's funny because as a 26-year-old entrepreneur, I actually have done research. Everyone knows that what you learn in a classroom is not necessarily translated to what happens in reality. So we as youngsters spend hours trying to really learn what to do, and we think that we know what to do, and we hit the real world, and it's like that's not the case. So, instead of learning and trying to learn in the classroom or from the reading on the computer screen, trying to get that experience is what we would love to do. But a lot of the times that we aren't afforded those opportunities because sometimes we're either seen as threats, we're seen as not reliable or whatever based on stereotypes of younger people. So how would you best spend your time as a young entrepreneur, at least in the beginning phases, to learn your craft or even how the market works?
That's the easy. It's a great question, and for me, it's the easiest one I could possibly have the opportunity to answer. So I'm going to steal this one from Logan before he gets into it. The easiest and the most effective way to define your course, identify the path with which to begin your travels along your course, and your goal is to identify somebody who has achieved something that you desire, and then make yourself available to them. I had mentors coming up, and it was interesting. Every business that I've ever been involved in, it was a result of a mentor showing me the path.
We're coming back. Logan Delaney, Milo Pinckney, CW, AG.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Logan, Milo, did you finish answering? Yes, you finished. Logan, did you want to respond to CW?
Yeah, I have a variation of what Milo said, and that is find a job in an area that you think you'd like to learn something about. Work for the best company and the best people in that company that you can and learn your business. I can give you 3 examples
That sounds
of people
kind
who've been
of
very successful. People in finance, just go work for like a Goldman Sachs.
That's way easier said than done.
No. Well, let me give you the other extreme.
Okay.
Probably my richest friend. It worked for Burger King, and he went to Burger King University, and he got a Burger King. He flipped hamburgers, became a Burger King franchisee, and is now, worth almost $1 billion. I have another friend who did the same thing at McDonald's. McDonald's has probably created more millionaires than in any other institution in America.
I believe
I have other friends who've done it in the construction business. They go work for a housing builder. You don't have to start at Goldman Sachs. But you have to find somebody who has some niche in some business that you think you have an affinity for. Go work for them and learn the tricks of the trade and learn from other people's mistakes and then go out on your own.
But what about the
I
youngsters?
think Logan's giving you very good advice, but I'll add to it and tell you, because one of the things I've seen a lot of recently is young people who are looking for a guarantee and aren't willing to make the sacrifice for the opportunity. And, find that business you want to go work for. Tell them, look, I'll come work for free. Just give me full access and exposure so I can learn something. I'll work for free for 3 months. Let me prove myself, and then pay me commensurate with what I'm earning. It's the person who does that is going to see the first and real opportunity.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that advice, because I know a lot of people out there who are always looking for jobs like that, say Goldman Sachs or a big firm, and they're not willing to work. They're not willing to do the initial work for free to learn the trade and to get the inside, get the information. They want to be compensated immediately because they feel that they won't be able to afford.
Get that BMW.
Yeah.
I got a resume from a young lady this week who I'm going to bring in. She has absolutely no credentials consistent with the job or the advertisement that we placed for the job. But her cover letter touched me because she said, I'm hardworking, I'm loyal to a fault, she says, and I'm willing to learn anything that you're prepared to teach me. I just need an opportunity to get my foot in the door.
Let's go to the phone line. Caller, who's on there? Caller? Okay, continue, guys. They'll speak up when they
And I'm
want
going to bring her in and give her an opportunity to interview, even though she has absolutely no credential for the position.
That's real. I mean, I think that you're definitely giving her a great opportunity, and I think that you have a keen sense of judgment in a situation like that. But you may be a very special case, you know what I mean? And I think that one thing we aren't touching on at all is the psychological aspect of young people, the period of life that they're in. They are not sure of who they are, honestly. And it's one of those things where if I decide to go with this path, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And that type of commitment makes people nervous. Granted, I always consider myself an entrepreneur, so when it comes to business, it's more so about understanding the principles of it. So I've also always made sure that I was learning, the background of business across all industries. But one thing that definitely made me nervous is committing to a specific industry or job. And it's funny because, again, I've gone from event promotion to media, but it's like everything in between that I've done has been a learning experience, and I've taken it all. But, again, it was one of those things where I have many friends who are scared to commit, and they feel like they're multi-talented. And a lot of them are multi-talented, so it's like, do you follow your passion or what you're good at or the money is? Where do you really follow?
But look where that got you.
Well, I would suggest that you follow the opportunities. I mean, if you go get a job doing something that you like or you feel you have an affinity, you may find that you don't like it. And you may see other opportunities. I mean, in my own case, I was working in finance and saw an opportunity in manufacturing and went out into manufacturing. And, was able to bring my skills to bear, that I learned, in finance, the manufacturing world. I've been in various types. I've been in soft drink bottling. I've been in plastics manufacturing. I've been in electronics. We've been in hotel amenities. I mean, you can go into a lot of different directions once you realize that you have certain basic skills and you look for opportunities. The other key thing in looking for, to build a business is know what you can't do, and the fact that to be successful, you may need partners.
I'm good. How you doing?
Who is this in my line, man? We're live on there. Who is this?
Good. Lauren has a question for you.
Oh, for us?
And he can hear you, and he's about to ask you right now.
What is going on here? Lauren?
Hey.
Hello?
Thanks. How you doing?
Is this for the Armstrong Williams show?
Good.
Are you calling the Armstrong Williams show?
You know how to get in contact with Bill? I know I asked you that
get
before.
This person out of my ear. What is going on here? Get this person out of my ear. You're on the wrong show.
No.
This is crazy.
Is that Lauren?
No. It's unprofessionalism is what it is. Please continue.
Well, anyway, one of the key things is knowing that what you can't do and where you may partner.
Go ahead, Logan.
Okay. And it's important to have partners who complement your skills when you're going into a business. For example, you might want to go into the internet business, and you have some great ideas and you're a great salesman, but you may not be a good programmer. Maybe you need a partner who knows how to program. He may not be able to sell his way out of a paper bag, but the two of you together can really, dance together and make...
You said Rich Lamar at noon? Okay, I'll try that.
This is unbelievable. Go ahead, Logan.
Anyway, so that's my point. Know when to get a partner as well.
Will do. Thanks.
Go ahead. Al, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I definitely agree, and I think that one thing that we definitely should bring up to the young people listening is that you have to be focused. I think that's the number one thing. You have to be focused on knowing yourself and knowing the world around you in terms of the playing field that you're actually entering into. Again, we have a lot of young people that are disconnected with reality when it comes to the fact that if you want to be successful, you have to work hard for it. And you may not even have the skill set that it takes to be successful. But as you just said, you have to partner with the people that have that skill set. But it takes a level of humility and vision in order to even get to that point. And I appreciate you gentlemen even bestowing this wisdom upon us. But we are in a situation now that we have a mentor and we have a certain model to definitely follow. But I'm wary of the youngsters who are maybe listening that are lost. And it's not a bad thing that they're lost, but they're just at a point where they don't know who they are and they don't know what the world really is around them. And that's more so scary for me than the young person who knows who they are and wants to be in business and successful but doesn's know how. There's a bigger issue, I feel like, with the young people, and that has to do with the psychology behind the fact that there's a disconnect between what they're taught and who they feel they are and the reality of the situation.
Gentlemen, Logan, Milo,
I've got nothing to add. To that, I think we've just I think we've touched on all the core points. It's time for people to stop talking about what they want to do and go do it.
I tell you, this is very interesting. Very few people would admit this. The interesting thing about creating entrepreneurship, not necessarily having money, but the potential to create entrepreneurship where people respect your ideas and they realize that you're building something of value. When you're dealing with business owners who've been very successful, they're very careful when they give their time to. They're very careful when they give their resources to. And you notice wealthy people, basically, circle of influence is wealthy people. Now, they have family and friends that were poor, some of them feel by birthright, and they help them and they give to them. But in terms of where they spend the quality of time and who they're serious about in terms of their business is people of like-mindedness. So listen, wealth not only brings you a certain piece, it also brings you a different circle of influence. Because listen, many people would not be in their same circle of influence today were they not part of the same wealth class. And sometimes when people fall out the wealth class, they lose their friends. It's just reality. Wealth is more than just about the money. It builds relationships. In fact, it's a fact. If you have far more influence in the world and get far more breaks if you're part of the wealth class than the poor class. Because if you're poor, you have no leverage. So you should just not want to make money for the sake of having money. If you want to have a leverage and have any kind of influence and any kind of stability, you should want to create wealth. Logan?
For example, you have to pay to play.
Yes.
It's whether you join the country club, whether you're going to the racetracks at Saratoga,
or the Preakness,
sailing at Newport.
You got to pay.
Yeah.
Wealth class is a business. Now look, Logan and Milo, we're all tied, but what is it that binds us together? We're successful. I respect these guys. They're wonderful guys, but we hang because we both are doing something. We're growing each other. We add value to each other because listen, our time is valuable. We cannot spend our time wasting it away with people who are not making progress and adding value to our lives. It's just reality.
No, it definitely makes sense, and it's funny because, again, I went to a private school, Georgetown Day School. Shout out to GDS. But a lot of my friends that I grew up with, it was funny because in middle school, everyone's kids, you're having fun, whatever. But when we got to high school, it was more so about really figuring out what you want to do. But now that I seem to be a successful young man, a lot of my friends that are from high school are coming out of the woodworks and reaffirming my success.
Gentlemen, fabulous show. Logan, Milo, CW, AG, thank you so much for joining us. Good day, everybody.
Thank you.
All right,